I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that uh, Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country. It's very sad to watch this. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It's so, everyone thought it was going to be the reverse. I didn't think so. And I was telling them, you gotta do something. You gotta negotiate. And at the end, last minute, they said, no, we're not going to do that, and they got hit. Remember 60 days, and then came the 60. 61 is going to become a very famous number. That was one hell of a hit. That first hit, that was one hell of a hit. Not sustainable, to be honest. That's where it ended. It ended on the first night. Yes.
Is it too late, though? Do you think it's too late to now?
Really, nothing's too late. The only thing too late is Powell. Powell's too late. Too late, Powell.
Have the Iranians reached out to you, Mr. President?
What?
Have the Iranians reached out to you?
Yes.
And what did you say?
I said it's very late. I said it's very late to be talking. We may meet. It's. I don't know. There's a big difference between now and a week ago, right? Big difference.
President, you said we may meet. Israel said we may meet. Is this about Vance and with Trump possibly going to talk?
It's about anybody. They even suggested they come to the White House. It's a big difference. But they've suggested that they come to the White House. That's, courageous, but, it's like not easy for them to do. But they suggest, because I can't go now because of what's going on. I had to come back early from the G7, which was terrific, by the way, in Canada. Really terrific, good people.
Is there a possibility of next 40 years they've been saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody else that they didn't like? They were bullies.
Well, you know what it is, unconditional surrender. Two very simple words, very simple, unconditional surrender. That means I've had it. Okay, I've had it, I give up, no more. Then we go blow up all the all the nuclear stuff that's all over the place there. No, they had bad intentions. For 40 years they've been saying death to America, death to Israel, death to anybody else that they didn't like. They were bullies. They were schoolyard bullies. And now they're not bullies anymore, but we'll see what happens. Look, nothing's finished until it's finished. War is very complex. A lot of bad things can happen. A lot of turns are made. So I don't know. I wouldn't say that we won anything yet. I would say that we sure as hell made a lot of progress. And we'll see. The next week is going to be very big. Maybe less than a week. Maybe less. But is there anybody here that said it would be okay to have a hostile, very, zealots really, but to have a hostile country have a nuclear weapon that could destroy 25 miles, but much more than that, could destroy other nations just by the breeze blowing the dust. That dust blows to other nations and they get decimated. This is just not a threat you can have. Thank you very much, everybody.
Can you share what you've told Prime Minister Netanyahu about getting involved?
What we know is going on are preparations for two very different contingencies. They're trying to put together a diplomatic package that they would get the Iranians to agree to. And this would involve ending the Iranian nuclear program, Iran agreeing to not controlling any uranium enrichment capability, and then in return, the United States would lift economic sanctions. And then on the other hand, they are also preparing military contingency plans. And this presumably involves the use of the heavy ordnance that only the United States has that would have to be used to destroy, for instance, the Fordo uranium enrichment facility, which is buried under a mountain, and a facility that's designed so you can't just send a cruise missile in through the door. It doesn't work that way. But the U.S. has capabilities that the Israelis don't, as good as the Israelis are. So that's the range of what we understand President Trump has asked his cabinet secretaries to pull together. I have not seen any statement from Pete Hegseth or anyone else about what the legal authority for this kind of an attack would be. And it is certainly true that many of President Trump's supporters, and including some of his top advisors, aren't really at all keen for the U.S. to get involved in what they say is another Middle Eastern war. And what they are really talking about is one of these so-called forever wars.
Well, right now we're in a state of pretty much complete uncertainty as to the direction that the president is going to decide to go. He's got this meeting going on today with his top national security aides, at which people expect that there will be a decision made to go in one of two ways. One would be the diplomatic way, but Trump has already signaled on his way back from Canada last night that he thinks the time for diplomacy is done. So that really leaves us with the second option, which is to kind of go all in and assist Israel in its attacks on Iran. Obviously, the main site that the Israelis want help with is the Fordo nuclear enrichment plant, which is built into a mountain in which the Israelis themselves can't get to because it would require a massive 30,000-pound bomb that only a B-2 bomber that the U.S. has can deliver. The Iranians are not happy, obviously. They're being pummeled by Israel. They have not yet been reduced to the level of crying uncle and saying we're going to, okay, enough, we give up. And it's unlikely that they will be put in that position or allow themselves to be put in that position. And so what they're saying is that yes, they're happy to go back to the negotiating table with the U.S., but they won't do it until the Israelis stop. And the conundrum there is that the Israelis aren't going to stop. So until they think that they've completed the goals that they outlined, which is to eliminate Iran as a nuclear threat to them.